Welcome back to SportsLine, everybody. NBA Finals Game 1 last night. The Phoenix Suns able to hold serve as they beat the Milwaukee Bucks to take a 1-0 lead in that series. And really, it's a series of two teams that really are not accustomed to being at the NBA Finals, of course, or winning championships. Phoenix Suns, of course, have never won an NBA championship before. The Milwaukee Bucks did all the way back in 1971 when then Lou Alcindor, who later became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, along with Oscar Robertson, led them to the title. So both cities, both fan bases starving for a title. We're going to talk about that and so much more with a guy I'm happy to have here on SportsLine for the first time. He's a friend of our show on WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio, the Greg Pogue and Jon Burton Show. He joins us quite frequently. Joined us this morning, as a matter of fact. He is the former head women's basketball coach at Morehead State, former assistant at Middle Tennessee State under the legendary Rick Ensel. We welcome to the show the great Tom Hodges. Tom, you are a highly intelligent American. I thank you for being on the show. Good evening, sir.
Jon Burton, you are the man of the hour, the man with the power, too sweet to be sour.
Oh, yeah, dig it. For those that don't know, Coach Hodges and myself are very big 80s wrestling fans, so we like to do a little banter when we're on the air together, and it drives Greg Pogue nuts, which I love, by the way. Coach, welcome to the show. Game 1, what were your thoughts? You know, I mean, obviously a great performance by Chris Paul last night, the 32 points, his first ever NBA Finals game, and a real OG, an old, one of the old-style point guards, finally making it to the finals, leading his team and getting them off to a 1-0 start. You know, Chris Paul, you see him in those State Farm commercials. He does a great job there, but he's finally getting an opportunity to win that elusive ring. I kind of feel good for him. What say you?
Absolutely. It's hard not to feel good and really get invested in this story, John. Chris Paul, 16-year veteran, arguably the top point guard of the last decade, taking a young team after failed attempts in Houston, really got his career started with Monty Williams and the New Orleans Hornets. It's just a great story. It's a story of maturity. It's a story of leadership. And you can see Chris Paul has really permeated that locker room, and they're leading and following his leadership all the way to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Coach, I'm glad you mentioned maturity when it comes to Chris Paul, because I don't think, you know, and listen, we've all gone through it growing up and maturing as human beings, as men. You know, Chris Paul, I think you would agree to this. He hasn't always been the best teammate. He's gotten some coaches fired. You know, he's had some volatile moments. He's not always that nice guy you see on the State Farm commercials, but just the way he's playing, not only last night but throughout these playoffs, and the fact that you can tell he can taste it right now. He's 36 years old, as you said, been one of the premier point guards in all of basketball for a long time, and now to be this close to a championship, it looks like he's doing whatever it takes to finally get that elusive ring.
Absolutely, he is, and really has had some ups and downs just in this NBA playoff season with the COVID diagnosis and coming back off of that. Really struggled in their Western Conference Championship Series, going something like 16 for 49 until that final Game 6 against the Clippers, where he broke out for 41 points. But this team has gone as Chris Paul has gone, as good as Devin Booker has been and will continue to be. This is Chris Paul's team, and this is Chris Paul's moment.
Yeah, and you mentioned Devin Booker, Coach, and, you know, listen, he didn't have a great game last night. His numbers were good, didn't shoot that great, but you and I talked about this morning on the radio program, just the fact that Devin Booker is smart enough to know that, hey, if my OG, Chris Paul, who's trying to help me get to a championship as a young player, if he's going well, I got to defer to him. I can't be going back to the huddle, you know, during timeout saying, hey, where are my touches? I got to get my shots up. Devin Booker's smart enough to know that if Chris Paul's having the type of game like he had last night, I got to let him be him, and ultimately the goal is to win that championship. And I really give Devin Booker a lot of credit.
Yeah, absolutely. And their relationship, Chris Paul and Devin Booker, they benefit so much from each other. because you have to guard Devin Booker. He's a must guard as soon as he crosses the half-court line. And he was checked last night by Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is the best defender Milwaukee has. So in turn, who benefits from that? Chris Paul. So Chris Paul is the beneficiary of Devin Booker's ascent to superstardom, to being an Olympian, and they are mutually beneficial from each other, because the minute attention has to be shifted to Chris Paul, all of a sudden Monty Williams puts the ball in Devin Booker's hands. So it's really simple, but really complex to have to try to defend.
Yeah, no question about it. And on the other side, you know, I don't think all is lost for the Milwaukee Bucks. Sure, they lost. They're down 0-1 in the series, but I thought they got quite a lift with Giannis Antetokounmpo being able to play. Originally listed as doubtful for the game, upgraded to questionable, and wound up playing and played 35 minutes, scored 20 points, had that great chase down block showing his athleticism. You know, I really feel like, you know, Milwaukee's going to be heard from in this series. I think it's going to be a long series. And I think having Giannis back is kind of a sigh of relief for this Milwaukee Bucks team. And they're certainly not out of this thing yet, no?
Well, I totally agree with John. Having Giannis Antetokounmpo really changes the complexity of the series. Just because Giannis, they are left, they must have all-world performances out of Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, and then somehow find a third scorer. With Giannis on the floor, not only can they play their style, they can also defensively make some adjustments. You saw that a little bit in the fourth quarter last night, when they actually put Giannis, who starts at the 3 for them, they inserted P.J. Tucker and played him at the 4 last night. Giannis was actually playing the center position and checking DeAndre Ayton to force the switch and try to force Chris Paul into some mismatch and contested opportunities. So I think you'll see that going forward for the Milwaukee Bucks. I think they will make the necessary adjustments. I agree with you. I think it's at least a 6 or 7 game series. And the Bucks, again, are the highest scoring team in basketball this year, over 131 points per game. So they're capable of getting out, getting that speed game. The one thing they've got to do is work on their matchups defensively and work on the board work. I thought Phoenix really controlled the glass last night, and in turn was able to control the tempo of the game and force that up and down style, really have Milwaukee on their left foot and have Milwaukee chasing them all night.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. Holiday is a terrific defender, but they need him to score. He did not have a good shooting night last night. He played extremely well while Giannis was hurt, while they were able to finish their series in the Eastern Conference Finals with Atlanta. And, you know, I remember Charles Barkley asking him after one of the games, why aren't you this aggressive all the time? And he said, yeah, I need to be. I think even though Giannis is back, Drew Holiday still needs to be aggressive on the offensive end of the floor. What say you?
No doubt about it. They've got the Milwaukee Bucks have got to have that third scorer to counteract what Phoenix is doing with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton. So Milwaukee counters with Giannis, with Chris Middleton, another Olympian who's playing outstanding basketball right now. They really need that third score, and they can't get that out of Brook Lopez. As well as Lopez is playing right now, they need a dominant wing, a dominant point guard scorer, somebody with the ball in their hands. So Drew Holiday is going to hold a lot of the cards in terms of the success the Milwaukee Bucks have.
Coach, what about this matchup in general? Just the fact that, you know, it's not the usual suspects we're used to. What is it? Something like 61% of all NBA finals have been won by either the Celtics or the Lakers. You throw the Bulls dynasty in there, a few Pistons championships here and there. The Sixers got over 1 year. I love the fact that it's the Milwaukee Bucks and the Phoenix Suns, and I don't care what the TV ratings say. Okay, the finals are starting later than they normally do, right? It's July. It's the middle of the summer. People are, you know, not a lot of people are sitting home watching TV. I just like the fact that, you know, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, there's no – you have star power, obviously. You have Giannis, you have Devin Booker, you have Chris Paul, et cetera, et cetera. But I know a lot of people are going to say, well, There's no LeBron. You know me, I love LeBron. You know, I'm a LeBron guy. You know that about me. But there's no LeBron. There's no, there's no Steph. There's no this guy, that guy, this team or that team. Just the fact that you have the Phoenix Suns, a long-standing NBA franchise that has never won a title, Milwaukee Bucks. I remember in the 80s, Coach, they were knocking on the door every year in the East when they had Sidney Moncrief and Terry Cummings and Junior Bridgman and all those great players. And Don Nelson was their coach, but they couldn't get past either the Celtics or the Bucks. Now they have an opportunity. I think this matchup is pretty cool, don't you?
I couldn't agree more. It's truly a basketball final. Take away the media markets, take away, the mainstream person on the street, casual LeBron fan, or just the play it by ear fan. For a basketball-centric fan, this is outstanding because it truly is, I believe, the two best teams in basketball through an injury-plagued regular season, injury-plagued postseason. These two teams, I don't know that we could have got a better matchup, just pure basketball-wise, than what we are getting right now. Really exciting. I can't wait till tomorrow night.
Yeah, should be fun. Game 2 tomorrow night in Phoenix. Suns, of course, will look to take a 2-0 series lead, and the Bucks, of course, will look to tie it as they head back to Milwaukee. Up against the break, Coach. Can you hang for another segment?
That's Big 10-4.
All right. See it. It always works when I put the guest on the spot like that because you can rarely say no when I put you on the spot like that. All right, hang loose, Coach. We'll be back to you in just a second. We're going to take a break. More with Coach Tom Hodges talking all things basketball right here on SportsLine. Stay with us.